What is an empath? Here's an unpopular view. Let me first define empathy. What does empathy mean? It means the ability to comprehend someone else's situation or feelings. It means the capacity to place yourself into the position of that person. When you say, my heart goes out to that person, you experience empathy. Now, this can be in a situation where a person is going through a challenging time and you understand that it is their journey and that the challenge will come to an end. On the other hand, it could be a situation where you feel unconditional joy and love for a person who is in a good space. Again, there's balance in the universe. Empathy is not always feeling for a person who is in a bad space. It's also feeling for a person who is in a very good space. I don't know about you, but I've learned to be careful to say, I know how you feel, because I don't. I don't know how you feel. Rather, say nothing or ask, how can I help you? You can observe how someone acts, but you can only deduce how they feel. It's not your feelings. It's not your emotions. You may have been in a similar situation, but felt the opposite emotions, and then you jump to conclusions about how the person feels. I'll give you an example. My dad passed away about a decade ago. Some people were devastated about it. For me, it was a natural transition into a different dimension. It doesn't make my dad unreachable. It just makes him invisible to most. So for me, it was nothing to be sad about. It was as natural as putting on a different dress. Yes, it does take a bit more effort to talk to him, but I do it, and I do it regularly. So when somebody's parent passes away, for me to say, I know how you feel, that would be dishonest because I don't have the same frame of reference. So that's why it's important to say nothing or say, how can I help you? And just be there if the person does want to talk about how they feel. Now, we can go into this topic and we can identify all sorts of different types of empathy. Make it an academic exercise. The bottom line is that you feel empathy when you open your heart to convey that you are reaching out to another human. That's empathy. A person with no empathy is called hard-hearted. I'm not sure if anyone can be completely without empathy. Even the most evil people seem to look out for their own. So there's some empathy there, even if it's totally selfish. Now, there's this misconception about empathy which I want to address here. In recent years, apparently a new species of the human race have emerged, and they call themselves empaths. They even classify themselves into different types of empath. Like there's a super empath, there's an intuitive empath, there's an emotional empath, and goodness knows what else. From my own observation, especially in social media where people declare themselves as, I am an empath. This new species seems to be quite volatile emotionally. They don't like to take responsibility for their own emotions. And they like to blame others for making them feel emotionally overwhelmed. These empaths often claim superpowers such as being intuitive, as if that's not an attribute to everyone with a pulse. It's true that not everyone uses their intuition to the same extent, but everyone on this planet is intuitive to some extent. Recognizing that doesn't turn you into a superior member of the human race. On the contrary, you will simply become more aware of how you use your intuition every day. Whether it's with a brainwave, déjà vu, some precognition, for example, you think of someone the moment they call you, or other things where you know that you use your own intuition to some or other extent. A lot of these empaths claim to have made a jump from being in a codependent situation or at the mercy of a narcissist. They don't need to understand the terms, for example, codependent or narcissist. They just use them to identify with a group of like-minded people, or shall I say like-emotional people. They like to define themselves as having become superior because they left behind a destructive relationship. That's not superiority. That is simply growth towards emotional maturity. And now, getting to the topic of narcissists and empaths. Empaths who claim to be involved with narcissists often have no ownership of their own level of emotional maturity. They would rather be a martyr in a situation with a person who is equally emotionally immature, or an emotionally mature person who doesn't play games. And then they claim superiority when they walk away from the situation. When they do walk away from a destructive relationship, whatever the cause was, it is the end of a soul contract. It doesn't make you superior. It makes you emotionally slightly more mature. And the level of emotional maturity that you reach after ending a destructive relationship depends on the amount of inner work that you do. Do you actually look for the wisdom in the situation? What were you meant to learn from this destructive relationship? It is quite possible, I'm not denying this, it is quite possible to be in a relationship with a narcissist and experience a lot of gaslighting. But suffering in such a relationship doesn't make you a special type of human. It's simply a life lesson. And when you walk away, you should have wisdom and not claim superiority. Sadly, too many men get branded as narcissists because they are in a relationship with emotionally immature women who do not take any responsibility for their actions and words. A relationship is a partnership. If it's not, both parties need to work towards a partnership. What is emotional intelligence? As far as I'm concerned, emotional intelligence is a different term for empathy. A person can emotionally reach out to another and still be in full control of their own emotions. You can discern when to reach out with their heart and when to physically reach out and assist. Some people are just not willing or ready to get involved in drama, especially other people's drama. That means emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence or empathy is a natural human attribute. Some have more than others. It doesn't make you a different species. In conclusion, the word empath is a marketing term that's caught on. It doesn't give you psychic abilities. It doesn't automatically give you psychic abilities. It doesn't give you any form of superiority over others. It simply defines you as a part of the human race with the ability to reach out to other people emotionally. Namaste.